All right, welcome back to another episode of the All American Hoops Podcast, episode 114. As per usual, joining me is my older brother, John Driscoll.
Hey, H, thanks for having me. You threw me off a little bit there. Usually you introduce Matt before me. You're throwing me a
Yes,
curveball. I like it though. You're keeping me on my toes. Hold everyone accountable. I think that's good.
that's what
Thank
we
you.
got to
But
do.
yeah,
Yeah,
thanks
yeah,
for uh, thanks for having me on. Excited to talk hoops.
yeah, for sure. And yeah, I'll explain that in a second because also joining me is our younger brother, Matt Driscoll.
Hey, it was a pleasure. I was also thrown off. I was about to jump in there, but still, always a pleasure. Excited to talk hoops tonight as well.
Phenomenal. And then for the first time, joining me is from Would You Ball, PJ Ringel.
What's going on, guys? I'm with the Driscoll fam tonight. Chris, thanks for having me. I mean, I know you for, want to say 8 years now between college, but, playing basketball before then, Manasquan, Marlboro. So I'm glad to be here.
Phenomenal. Yeah, we're very, very excited to have you on. To bring up the confusion earlier, Matt's usually on first, but he had to hop off for a second, so that's why John's right next to me. So that's why I usually go Matt first. But so that's why the confusion was there.
Just showing my lack of punctuality. I appreciate it. That's good.
That's okay. So, anyways, we have an awesome show ahead of us for tonight. Obviously, there's been a lot of discourse around the league regarding the MVP, regarding a couple things. But before we do that, I did want to pick PJ's brain a little bit about just a couple of things about his content and also his most recent content as well. So, PJ, I think what's it been like about a year now that you started Would You Ball, or it has been a little bit longer. Why don't you explain what you do regarding that?
Yeah, so it's been about a year since I've realized that the content space is really cool. It gives an opportunity for anyone to share what they do, what they love, and I think that a platform, a space for people to do that is amazing. It started with me actually kicking footballs, and then I was like, "This is fun, but I don't really love doing it alone." And I thought of Would You Ball. I thought of one guy, Alex Ratner, who's my partner in Would You Ball, and we brought his little brother Jay on, and we've kind of turned it into less just me kicking footballs and more into let's talk about sports, let's make it fun at the same time, and hey, let's even do some challenges outside and get other people involved. So it's kind of all inclusive, and it's follower based, and we don't want it to be about us. We want it to be about the people viewing and hopefully one day participating.
Love to hear that. Yeah. And we'll definitely do more plugs at the end. But yeah, definitely follow Would You Ball. Yeah, they produce a lot of good trivia questions and just overall thoughts. A lot of games as well. So definitely one of the more fun channels to follow. The other thing I wanted to pick your brain about was last week, Clash came out. Every weekend, the show Clash, aka One Fan vs 10 Haters, comes out with an episode called One Fan vs 10 Haters. I was on a few weeks ago, probably about 2 months ago at this point. Then I was able to have on our friend Tyler Britton from Hoop Venue. He was the one Jokic fan. I was one of the haters. And last week, PJ was one of the haters in the one Luka Doncic fan versus 10 haters. PJ, you've definitely come to the right place for sure. We don't do a ton of hating on the show. We like to. I don't want to say we're objective because we're not really too objective, but we definitely do try not to disrespect too much. But I will say that Luka is definitely probably in our bottom 5 least favorite players. So I don't know if you feel the same way about him or if you just saw this as a cool opportunity. But yeah. How about this? So yeah, before we talk about your experience, what's your opinion? What's your actual opinion on Luka, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, no, I don't mind sharing, and I think I fall into the same bucket as you guys, where it's you have a guy who has this insane offensive talent, but the parts of the game that I think really matter and translate to winning, we don't really see enough of that. And that's why the Lakers are sitting at 6 in the West when you have Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves. There's really no excuse other than that, hey, are these guys really trying their best at not just playing offense, but everything else?
That's right. Very,
PJ,
very
you're welcome on the pod at any time, whenever you want to come back because of that. And let me correct you, Chris. Chris said we don't do a lot of hating on the pod. I would say speak for yourself. I do a ton of hating.
Speak for yourself, Chris. Me and Matt pick up the slack of Chris's non-hating. He likes to kind of keep it easy and nice. We kind of fill that void, I would say. But just to echo what Matt said, you are welcome on the pod anytime.
Yeah, but you debated 2 points against the Luke. Yeah, so one of them was the defense talk, which is why we're doing the defensive draft later. I I liked what you shared about Luka's defense, just because it really is an intangibles thing. And if anyone watches Luka for like obviously Luka has his moments, like so does every other NBA player, like playing solid defense. But if we look at the full body work, he's just one of the worst defenders in the league, especially compared to other superstars.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's also one of those things where, and we'll probably go a little bit deeper into this as the episode like unfolds, but like Jokic is somebody who's not necessarily like a really good defender, right? But like me personally, I see the gap between Luka and Jokic defensively as like relatively vast, right? Like Jokic again, he's not lighting up any stat sheets on the defensive end. He's not, he's not a great rim protector, but I think he holds his own in a sense as compared to Luca. So I don't know if that's more of an effort thing or a little bit of skill or both. That's just how I see it, though.
Yeah, John, you made a good point there. Like obviously, you said Jokic isn't a great defender, which he isn't, and you could talk about like other defenders in the NBA, like Jalen Brunson is towards the bottom of the league, and if we're comparing guards, but it's kind of about like effort. Like you see, Brunson creates turnovers. Luka gets a good amount of steals, but Brunson, takes charges here and there, and I feel like he just gives more of an effort. Like Luka is what, 6'7", 6'6", and he's a heavy guy. He should be a better defender than he is. I think it's more of an effort thing than a skill set thing. I think that's what the most annoying part is.
Absolutely. And before we move on to the next thing, one more thing to pick PJ's brain about. So like one thing you mentioned in the show is that you coach. So, remind me, how long did you coach at TCNJ after you played there all 4 years? How long did you coach there how long did you coach there afterwards?
Yeah, so I did 1 year after college of coaching at my high school. Then I did 2 years as a GA at TCNJ, and then I switched over to soccer after that, which is another story for another day.
Awesome. But before we do that, we did want to give a I personally haven't been before. I'm pretty sure I've delivered to his house. We did want to give a shout out to to TCNJ. PJ and I both went to TCNJ. To Matt Solomon, who graduated with our younger sister. He's now currently the what was it, all-time rebounders leader at TCNJ, is it? So so you made a couple posts about that last night. So we definitely like to give our flowers to our locals for sure. So we're very happy about that. I'm sure that you were very happy to see that as well as someone that used to coach him.
Yeah, Chris, it's funny. I did a little research on TCNJ's rebounding stats today, and also Ryan Jensen, 1,000 in high school.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
We had a very deep team when Ryan and I were in college, so the share of rebounds kind of was spread out. We were 6'1" and 6'5", 6'7", 6'8". We were tall, but that's another Manasquan product. And then the player that Matt Solomon passed, Don Nolan, is a Spring Lake local now.
Oh.
So you have this continuity of Manasquan, Spring Lake bigs, coming to TCNJ and really making careers for themselves. So it's funny to look at it that way.
The Jersey Shore TCNJ pipeline right there.
Absolutely. Something we love to see. Anyway, I'm very happy we were able to yap for the few minutes before, because I realized that I did not come prepared with what I usually do, because at the beginning of every episode I usually give happy birthday shout outs to every single we go through the 3-man sports: basketball, baseball, football, give birthday shout outs there. First shout out to your younger sister Erin. Happy birthday to her. Of course, getting her. Yeah, she's never been on the show, but happy birthday. But if I'm being, last week I said it was thin. I got to be honest. I'm not too familiar with many of these names at all. Basketball, the two guys with the highest win shares are Rolando Blackman and Jim Thomas. And then in baseball, we have one Hall of Famer, Grover Alexander, who was literally born in 1897. And then K-Rod, Francisco Rodriguez, single season saves record. And then Matt's, there's actually a player named Jose Reyes who started his career in 2006 and then finished his career in 2006 as well. So so not the actual Jose Reyes, but like this Jose Reyes. Like I said, very thin on the names. Like some weeks, last week was Jokic's birthday, but we're not usually too fortunate.
Chris, I have another funny interjection here, but Rolando Blackman My dad coached at Grady High School in Brooklyn for about 22 years through the 80s and 90s. That is where he went to high school. He did play a little earlier.
No
So,
way.
yeah, my dad was at Lincoln High School while he was at Grady, but it's funny that you bring that name up.
That is funny. Yeah. Yeah. Got to. Wasn't expecting this many connections to start. Yeah. I knew we had some connections, but I'm like, wow, this is really get to connect all the dots here for sure. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, we got a great show ahead of us. Yeah, now let's get into the actual basketball talk. So, I would say probably the biggest discussion, it's we're running down the end of the season. We got about a month and a half left. So of course, around this time of year is when a lot of the accolade talks, and more specifically like the All NBA voting, the MVP voting, probably like the two most important ones, or like the two biggest accomplishments, I'd say, because everyone's fighting for it. Like, not everyone's fighting for the defensive player of the year. Not everyone's fighting for most improved player 6 minutes of the year. Everyone is trying to fight to be one of the 5 to 15 best players in the league, or even the best player in the league in the MVP. So those are the two biggest ones. And with that being said, there has been a spike in, as far as it goes, for who's contending, who's not. But it's, yeah, and with the 65 game rule here, it's tough to predict who is eligible and who is most deserving as of now. Not really. Yeah, like I don't really have a set criteria as to what exactly we want to talk about first. But John, Matt, we've talked about the 65 game rule a couple times here. But PJ, what would you say your opinion is on the 65 game rule, in which every player needs to play at least 65 games in order to get an award?
It's a great question. I mean, what is it, about a fifth of the season that you're allowed to miss? We'll put it at a fifth of the season. I think it's fair. Sometimes guys miss time due to injury, and there's a difference between, I think, missing 4 games, playing 8, missing 2, playing 10, missing 6, and it kind of adds up throughout the season, versus a guy who, plays 35, sprains his ankle, misses 3 weeks, then comes back and finishes out the season. And I think it's very subjective in how you have to look at it. But when you have a rule, the rules are the rules.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we definitely agree. It's one of those things, because like when the rule first came out, I was 100% on board. I said, oh, the load management has gotten too far. Everyone's taking games off left and right. You need to play if you need to win an award. But then when I see a season like this, and just so many players are getting injured, I shouldn't say so many players. I should say all the top of the league players. Giannis already has been ineligible for months. Jokic has missed. Jokic is, I'm pretty sure, I think if he misses 2 more games, he's ineligible. I think he's 1 game safe. Even SGA has been out for. I think he's like 4 or 5 games safe at this point. So yeah, the rules are rules. I'm 100% with you there, but. I think this year is a year that has shown that it is pretty tough to like fully balance. But with that being said, I do agree with the sentiment that you gave as far as it goes for, if you need to draw a line somewhere, and that line can't be crossed. So it is tough. I'd maybe lower the threshold to maybe 62 games. I know some people are saying 60. I'd say 62, because I want to take off 20 games. I think that's enough. But yeah, 65 is a little high. But I know that a lot of people with me disagree.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, and I agree with both of you, especially you, Chris, when you said that when the rule first came out, I was so on board, because I was thinking of players like Embiid, like Kawhi, right? Like guys who like almost would like abuse that rule in a way, where they would, load management. But then I look at a guy like Jokic, who's again having one of the best, he's best player in the NBA. He's having one of the best years of his career. He has a really tough knee injury, misses about 4 weeks, and now he's 1 game away from being ineligible. Like, it's tough, and I think there's only so much you can do as the NBA to like regulate this in a way. Like, you can keep knocking down the game requirements, because I think there will always be players that kind of abuse that privilege of, oh, okay, well, I can miss 25 games over the course of the year. As opposed to somebody like Jokic, like SGA, like Giannis, who definitely would play every single game if they could. But, there's a freak injury here and there. And also, like, you look at Jokic now, like, I think he's 1 game away from being ineligible. the Nuggets are a top 3-4 team in the West. Is it really that valuable to keep him playing every single game when he's kind of like, I know he's back, but he's rehabbing, recovering from a knee injury? Um, is it really worth it for him to kind of make that push and then go into the playoffs a little bit less rested than you would have hoped? It's tough, and I think it's a problem that the NBA has, and I'm not really sure how to fix it or make it better.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all you guys. I think PJ made a really good point about like it's such a difference between if you miss just like you pull your hamstring or something like that, or you're spraining your ankle and you're out for 2 straight weeks. Like that's not like load management or anything like that. And Chris, I found a tweet of how many games are left. SGA can miss up to 8 games. Jokic is 1 game remaining. Cade Cunningham has 11 games remaining. Wemby can only miss 3, and Luka can only miss 5 for the end of the year. And I think John pulled up a very good point. Like, what if the Nuggets have the 3 seed locked up? Like, they can't become the 2 seed or can't drop to the 4 seed. And the last 2 games, I don't even know who they're playing, but let's say they're playing like the Jazz or something. Like, that's a game Jokic probably would sit. But if he can't miss, you know, the MVP, which I mean, I'm assuming in his contract he has like some bonus if he wins the MVP again. Like, he could lose a lot of money, or he could, the accolades, like it's a huge addition to his legacy. And I don't know, it's an interesting rule. When it first came out, I loved it. Like Chris said, I do think it should be dropped to like 60 games, or if they could figure out a way to like implement a rule where if you're out for a certain amount of games in a row, like it doesn't affect the games played total. Something like that. I don't know how to word it. I'm happy I don't have to make that decision, but yeah, I agree with most of your guys' takes.
Absolutely. So with us, yeah. So with this all being said, there's been like a bunch of names thrown around. I would say it's pretty safe to say that like the MVP race is pretty safely cut to about 3 guys. But there's also, of course, like many names being thrown around for like the fourth and fifth spot for the All NBA team. Which at first for the like, we could talk about this. Yeah, we could talk about this a different day. But like with the All NBA team, like I'm happy that it's positionless now, given that there are so many injuries. There are going to be a lot of ineligible guys. But with that all being said, PJ, who would you say is your MVP as of today?
Wow. This might be a hot take, and this is coming from a Knicks fan, but I love Cade Cunningham. I think the way he contributes to winning, taking the Pistons from a bottom team in the East to the top team in the East in a span of 2 years is, they weren't even thinking that would be possible 2 years ago. And he doesn't have the eye-popping stats that some of these other MVP candidates do have. But if you watch the Pistons play basketball, he is the driving force of the best team in the East.
Love that take for sure. Matt, who do you got?
You know what? I was going to go with Cade Cunningham before this episode started. Then I looked up, the odds to win MVP. I think SGA right now is at like -300, and I looked at the Thunder's record, and they're 45-15. And granted, I mean the Pistons are 43-14. And then, like you said, like Cade doesn't have the eye-popping stats, but he is still averaging 25, 10 assists, and 6 boards a game. But I am gonna go with SGA as my MVP. He's just averaging a super super efficient 32 points. I do think if you take Cade off the Pistons or if you take SGA off the Thunder, the Pistons would be a worse team than the Thunder would be. However, I don't think that's like what the MVP totally is. I think SGA is a top 3 player in the league right now, and his stature is insane. So I'm gonna go with SGA.
Yeah, Chris, when I was looking over the agenda earlier, I saw you said who is your MVP. I thought that was really good to kind of specify that. I think SGA probably will be the MVP when you think about the game requirement. I guess the NBA media objectivity or however you think of it. And for me, though, I would say it would be between Cade and Jokic. Jokic, I think, is, I've mentioned it a few times on the pod, and I bet Matt and Chris are a little tired of hearing it, but he's on both of my fantasy teams, and he is the most unbelievable person on the planet. He's averaging, I think, 28, 12, and 10 on, 58 and 42% shooting. He's truly, in my opinion, the best player in the league. But PJ, I really do love your Cade Cunningham shout out. He would be my second selection if I had a choice. if there was no game requirement. I think what he's done with the Pistons roster and just that entire organization is unbelievable. We've talked about how the Pistons are a pretty well-rounded team. We love Jalen Duren, but like that team is nowhere without Katie Cunningham. And I think that we talked about it a little bit last week. We need to see a little bit more in terms of playoff success, but I think if you're talking about MVP, if Katie Cunningham wins MVP, that's quite all right with me.
All right, so I'm looking at the list of MVPs now. So by games played, so last year Shea played 76, Jokic played 79 in 2024. Embiid was kind of an outlier, played 66 in 2023. Jokic in 2022 at 74, which run through it now. So 74, 72, 63, which was Giannis in 2020. So the shortened seasons, obviously 72, 72, 81, 79, 80, 81, 76, and then dropped down to 62. But that was the shortened season in 2012. So outside of Embiid in 2023, which, let's be honest, that was kind of a campaign MVP as far as it goes for advocating for yourself. But I'm interested because so if Shea plays every single game for the rest of his for the rest of the season, he'd be at about 71 games. I don't think he's going to do that because I think the Thunder are going to lock up the 1 seed relative not soon, but like they're going to do it eventually, probably with like a few weeks left in the season. So I'm not really sure if I don't think the voters are going to consider that too much, given that so many guys are going to be ineligible, and I think that's the gap between the two of them would be pretty big. But that being said, I think that usually like once every decade, there's like a weird MVP. So like in 2011, it was Derrick Rose. It was in 2005 and 2006, it was Steve Nash. In like the 90s, it was David Robinson, who's don't get me wrong, is an all-time great, but everyone knew that Akeem Olajuwon should have won MVP that year. So I'm wondering if this is gonna be one of those things where people look at Cade and say, okay, so let's look at this. So the Pistons were one of the worst teams in the league. They became the 6th seed last year. They were the sixth seed last year, and then they jumped up to the 1 seed this year. I listen. I know that Cade doesn't necessarily put up all the best advanced stats, but however, he has been the driving force on a 1 seed. So I don't think it's going to happen, but it wouldn't shock me if this is the 1 year that like we have maybe like a fuck it MVP, unless we already considered that to be Embiid in 2023.
And granted, we're saying that like Cade's stats don't pop off the page. I know I read them earlier. He's averaging 25.4, 6 boards, and 10 assists, and a steal and a half and a block a game on very good efficiency. And his team is 43-14. And like you said, John, Jalen Duren is the number 2, who's a very, he was an all-star this year. He's a very, exciting young player. But I feel like, it's like nobody argues about whose team it is. Like Cade is just truly carrying the load on that team, and it would be awesome if he won. I would love to see him win.
You take Cade off that team, they probably missed the plan, or right? Like, is that an insane take?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we mentioned Cade, we mentioned SGA, and I think everyone agrees that's that probably like Jokic plays enough games. He's going to be the guy to. He's definitely gonna play, make one of those first team All NBA spots, and I'm imagining that the 4th guy would be Wemby. I'm curious as to who that 5th guy is going to be because there are a handful of options here. So I'm gonna lay a few of them out, and I'll let you guys decide before I get mine. So one of them is obviously our guy Jaylen Brown. Obviously with Tatum out, he's been leading. I'm not going to say carrying because like it's been a team effort, but like he's been leading the team and like has been like the true leader of the locker room, and like made sure no, we're not going to quit this year. We're gonna play good now they're the 2 seed. There's Donovan Mitchell, who's one of the who's putting together one of his better seasons. Even though the Cavs are definitely disappointment, I definitely think that Donovan Mitchell has been the reason for that. Kawhi Leonard, who I don't know if he's missed. I don't think he's missed too many games yet. I'm pretty sure he still has I could be dead wrong actually, but yeah, I still feel like that he has a good amount left. I think Jalen Brunson's one of those guys for sure. Am I missing anyone else that's like on the board that they're saying is on the table, or is there someone else?
Did you say Tyrese Maxey? I mean, he's a long shot, but
yeah,
he's definitely up there.
If it was like first half of the year, I would have said for sure, and I haven't really watched much of him yet. But I feel like the narrative has kind of gone against him since it's been since Joel Embiid has kind of been playing better lately, and the Sixers still haven't really climbed up the map. So I don't really know how Tyrese has been the past couple months, but I know it probably hasn't been as good as he was at the beginning of the season. So I don't know what we think, PJ.
I mean, you said his name first, and I think that maintaining the 2 seed in the East without your number 1 and becoming the number 1 speaks volumes to the type of player that Jaylen Brown is right now and always has been. Because when you have the talent to be the number 1, but you play with a guy like Jason Tatum and you still are happy, you contribute, and you contribute at a high level, I mean, he's a winner. And I think that's evident. I didn't know you guys were Celtics fans. And I'm not just saying Jaylen Brown because of that. I think that when he passes the eye test for a player who gives it all on all sides of the ball, and to be number 2 in the East without your best player is an accomplishment in its own. I don't know his numbers. I know he's got to be up there 25 plus points or whatever it is. But yeah, he carries a heavy load and he's done a great job this year. Wemby's another guy. He's a freak. I feel like he's gotten to a point where the first projections of his career were like, oh, it's going to take him a while to settle in and become the guy that the Spurs need to compete. And granted, that team is awesome. The Spurs have a great organization. They find players that get it done. But like we said about Cade Cunningham, Wemby is the glue to that team. And he does it defensively and on offense.
Absolutely. And yeah, so before we moved on from this topic, because I know that John mentioned earlier in the week that he did want to touch on the topic of like the war between the pro analytics crew and the anti analytics crew. So and that of course is stemming a lot from the fact that a lot of people are debating whether or not Jaylen Brown should be in the MVP discussion, and of course the anti-analytics people are saying, are saying like, no, Jalen's not on that level. Yes, he's putting up the good counting numbers. However, if you see it, the Celtics success is more responsible because of Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, and Joe Mazzulla. Jaylen Brown averages a lot of turnovers. He's not really efficient and all that. But meanwhile, all of us, I'm not necessarily you know me. I'm probably more pro analytics than anyone here. So I guess to just say the I kind of reversed that. I said yes. I should say pro analytics people said this. So yeah, actual anti-analytics people would say no. Let's look follow the narrative. The Celtics are still playing great even with Tatum out. It's because of Jaylen Brown, because he's the leading scorer and everything and everything else. So I definitely fall right down the middle. I would say maybe the notion that Jaylen Brown has been carrying the Celtics side. I definitely don't think he's been carrying them. I think the Celtics have. Not only have a solid supporting cast, I think more specifically they have a very solid foundation built by Joe Mazzulla. I think the Brad Stevens is top 2 GM in the league, and also Derek White, despite his shooting woes, has also been super impactful as well. So I think that Jaylen Brown is the main reason why the Celtics have been playing better. But I also don't. But whether or not he's an MVP candidate, I think he's in the discussion, but I wouldn't put him at number 1 for that reason. So. I feel like I'm missing a good amount in the analyst discussion, but John, did you anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I think just to start, PJ, you not knowing that we're Celtics fans and you selecting Jaylen Brown is impressive. I think you deserve kudos for that. But no, I was actually really excited to talk about the whole analytics versus anti-analytics. And Chris, like you said, like I sent that link to you, I think maybe Monday or Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. I think it's not something that's like all or nothing, right? I think we're all like pretty smart people, and we kind of can dictate that, numbers or analytics or statistics over the course of, years and years and years, like makes sense, right? But when you look at it in terms of basketball, 82 games, 16 games in a playoff series, sometimes there are things that happen that do not, add up in a way. And Jaylen Brown's averaging 29, 7, and 5 on like relatively good efficiency. I think, over the last like 20 or so games, I saw a tweet today that said his efficiency has been rather poor. Sure, I'm sure it has, and that's just the way that the NBA season goes. And Peyton Pritchard, Derek White have been great. But like it's to kind of tie it back to the whole analytics thing. Like Derek White has been like, if you look at it from an analytics or efficiency point of view for Derek White, like he's had like a relatively like kind of season. But like if you watch the games, he's been awesome. He's been great. He's a main driver as to why the Celtics are the 2 seed. So I think analytics are important in sports and in the NBA, but they can only take you so far. Like, and the eye test is such an overrated and annoying kind of argument sometimes, but like sometimes you do have to watch the games and like kind of put analytics like slightly to the side to kind of get, appreciate it a little bit more.
Yeah, John, you really hit the nail on the head there. Like, I think it's so cool that we're watching sports in a generation where, like, I know Hugo Gonzalez averages 3.8 deflections per 100 possessions. Like, that's sick. I love how I know that. But, like, I'm not going to be like, oh, like, Hugo only had 2 deflections tonight. Like, he played bad. And it's about, like, the fourth quarter, you need to stop. Like, who do you want guarding the ball? Or fourth quarter, you need a bucket. Like, who do you want with the ball in the hands? Like, yeah, obviously there are going to be numbers that you could look towards to pick that guy. But realistically, you're just going to be like, I want, Jalen Brunson with the ball in the fourth quarter because he won Clutch Player of the Year last year for a reason. Or I want, Jason Tatum with the ball in his hands because he showed me this. I'm not going to be like, oh, Jason Tatum driving rate in the fourth quarter is below his driving rate from the first through third quarter. Like, I'm not going to give him the ball. Like, there's, like you said, John, you don't have to go all or nothing. I feel like society in general just goes all or nothing, one side or the other. Like, if you like analytics, you're anti-eye test, or if you're eye test, you're anti-analytics. Like, no, you could enjoy both. It's just about, finding a happy medium. And granted, I say that even though I yell on this podcast about everything always. And another thing, I'm going on a rant here. PJ, you hated Luka and picked Jaylen Brown. I know John touched on it. I already extended you the welcome. Whenever you want to come back on, you're welcome to.
I love it. And honestly, like, I love both your perspectives on like this topic of eye test and analytics and how you kind of have to use both. Little side note, when you're recruiting, as I had to do as a college basketball coach, you see the stats before you see the player. And you see guys who average 26, 8, and 7. And then you go and watch them in person and you realize they're playing against crud dudes. And those stats provide a false narrative in that situation. So it's like checks and balances where you have to use them together.
Absolutely. Checks and balances. I was actually we're actually teaching about checks and balances a few weeks ago in my US history class. So very, very good there. Yeah, it's great stuff as per usual, guys. Obviously analytics are a beautiful thing. However, and I think someone said this was about baseball, but it's like, I know that a lot of the old heads say, oh, analytics are ruining the game. No, analytics are not ruining the game. People who only use analytics are ruining the game. And I just remember following this baseball guy. He said, oh yeah, there are a lot of people out there that say oh, I'm for analytics, but he said, like, if anyone says I'm for analytics, but that means they're not for analytics. No, that's not the case. You don't need to be all, again, like Matt said, you don't need to be all or nothing. It's gotta have a healthy balance of everything for sure. Absolutely. So, all right. So now we're gonna move on to our next portion of the draft, and I was very excited when I came up with this idea, especially. And I was excited to hear PJ talk about it as well. So we're gonna do a draft of all of the we're gonna draft the best defensive team that you can ever. So what do I mean by that? Just think about it's, you can think about it in a couple ways, but like here's the analogy that I'm thinking of. Think about it as if basketball was a football game. You only play on one side of the ball. For these defensive players, they are only playing defense. Their job is to allow the fewest amount of points for a season. So we're not going to worry about the fact that that Ben Wallace only averages like 7 points per game. If you think that he's the best defensive guy up, which he's one of the best defensive players of all time, if he's the best guy up, then you should draft him only because of his defense. We don't care about his offense. We also don't care about trying to think of a good two-way player like either of our guys, Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Both of them are awesome two-way players, but they're also not two of the best defensive players of all time. So probably not the best draft for them. So and I also mentioned this in the agenda. You're not just going to draft the 5 best defensive players because that would usually go to bigs. Basically, yeah. So you're drafting a team and based on how you think that team would best allow the fewest amount of points. Any questions?
The way I thought about it, how you presented it in the agenda, is like Michael Jordan is bringing the ball down. Who are the 5 people he wants to see the least? Right? Is that a good way of looking at it?
That's a good way. That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right, cool. So, what we usually do, PJ, I haven't shared my screen yet. Give me 1 second. It always takes longer than I think. But
5 or 6 rounds, Chris.
I think we're gonna go 6 rounds. Yeah, I usually like to keep an even number. So we're going to spin the wheel, see who will be drafting first. With the first pick, it will go to John.
You're not sharing your screen, Chris, by the way.
Oh, not just. Give me 1 second. There we go. Yeah. So yeah. Oh yeah. I was telling the
Of course,
truth.
John gets the first pick. We weren't watching, but all right.
Okay. if it was me, it'd be one thing. But that was the first round. Actually, I think we've agreed in the show that it's not always the best option to have the first pick. But the second pick will go to. Looks like it is going to go to Matt. Looks like so. That will be drafting second. And the third pick will be going to me, which means PJ will have the last pick with the turnarounds. I definitely think the 4th overall pick is always the most underrated. I'm not just saying that to be nice to you, PJ. So give me 1 second. All right, awesome. So yeah, so it's like I said, we're gonna do 6 rounds. It's gonna be a starting 5 plus a 6th man. I always like to keep it even, just to make the teams even. But John, when you're ready, you're on the clock.
Yeah, I think this is probably this might be a little polarizing to most people, but I'm going to go with Bill Russell. I think that it's a very old head take. I know he played in the 60s and life was a lot different then, but at the end of the day, he was one of the most athletic big men of all time. He was 6'10". They didn't really. It's funny that I'm saying it out loud now because they didn't really track defensive metrics or stats too aggressively back then. But I think Bill Russell at my 5 or even my 4 in like a big lineup is pretty exciting.
Couldn't agree more. All right, Matt.
All right, I'm gonna go with the guy that never won the depoy, and I think it's one of the biggest robberies in NBA history. I'm gonna go with Tim Duncan. He leads the league with the most defensive teams all time. I love Tim Duncan, and I know we're not playing offense on this pod, but if we were with this draft, my team will be beating John's right now. So
at the 4 or the 5
for Tim Duncan.
Yeah,
you guys have to see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, I have Bill at my 5 though, and great civil rights activist too. So
that's true.
It gives me a little bit of a boost.
We're talking off the court issues, which Tim Duncan really doesn't have any off the court issues. So
they both rock. They're both awesome.
They're both great guys. And as my co-host on Wednesday nights would say, Chilltown, y'all have no idea how good Tim Duncan was. So, yeah, I'm gonna take the guy who I think is probably the best one. It's definitely top 2 defender of the century. Not even the century, probably like in like the last 50 years, I'll say. I'm gonna go with Hakeem Olajuwon.
Chris, you think Hakeem's a better defender than Duncan? That's who I was between.
I don't know. I go back and forth. I think that it's one of those things. I think that Duncan might be the better team defender, but Hakeem's probably the better one-on-one defender. I think that's where I've landed at with that debate.
This was a huge debate with the Loyola boys for the 4 years I lived with them. Dean and Ryan would talk about that. So
yeah, definitely makes sense. PJ, in my opinion, even though I think the 4th pick is underrated, I also think that we also just picked the 3 best, the 3 objective best defenders of all time. I don't know if you feel the same way, but or if you had anyone else in mind. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a good spot, I think, because you guys did take. I'm not going to age Tim Duncan like that, but we do have some older picks that were just taken, and I'm gonna look on the other side of that, and although his career is still going on, I'm going to take Victor Wembanyama.
I was wondering when he was going to be picked. But yeah, I'm happy you took him early.
And yeah, this is all, projection, perspective, but
Yeah.
I mean, he's a rim protector, and the added versatility he provides in the modern NBA, where he can truly guard all five, maybe not stay in front, but he has the ability to alter any shot for anyone he's guarding. He's a game changer.
He absolutely is. And I forgot to mention, John and Matt already know this. That's why I always forget to mention. 99% of the drops we do here is based on peak. Like we rarely do it based on full body work, especially if we're doing based on best team. So yeah, you're definitely right on track with the Wemby pick. So yeah. Now you have the turnaround. So you have the next pick too.
Yeah, this is where it gets a little tough because now I have a ton of options again, and I'm looking at guards and I'm thinking about guards, and you could go for guys who got a ton of steals, but can they guard the ball, or are they jumping passing lanes? And this is a crazy take, but I'm gonna take him off the board early because he is such a pest and he's strong. I'm gonna take Drew Holiday.
Hell yeah! Oh my God, love that.
Yeah. I'm taking Drew
We
Holiday.
love Drew on this podcast.
Yeah, he's great at guarding the ball. He's strong. He can. I mean, I'm not going to say he could guard a 5, but he could guard 1 through 4 and be disruptive on a 5.
Definitely, yeah. So I'm deciding between 2 picks now. Both of them. I don't think I can go wrong with any of them. I will go with the guy that's slightly more intimidating, even though he is more injury prone. He's still playing today. I do think he's more intimidating. I think he's stronger. And maybe I'll be able to pick the other guy soon, but I will be going with, I think, the best wing defender of all time. I'm going to go with Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, I love that pick. I mean, he's got the biggest hands, almost biggest hands in NBA history, and that length is it's so disruptive.
So I think now, like you said, Chris, we're not going to just go for like the best defenders on the board. I think I have to look at, positional value and stuff like that. So I'm going to go with the guard here, and I'm going to take who debatably is the best guard defender of all time. I'm going to take Gary Payton. I think he has 9 first-team All-NBAs, Chris.
9 first-team defenses, you mean? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, not All-NBA. First-time defense.
I think that he's 9 overall NBAs, though. But yeah, up until Marcus Smart in 2022, he was like the only guard in like the last 30 years that had won a defensive player of the year, though. So yeah, absolutely great pick. All right, John's got 2 picks now.
Yeah, the 2 picks are tough. And it's also tough to not be biased to my pick here, right? But I'll, as most of these drafts go, I'll probably be a little bit biased. For my first pick, I'm going to pick. I think there's been a little bit of a run on guards here, so I have to pick one before it gets a little too sweaty. I'm going to take Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart. We talked about somebody who can guard 1 through 4, arguably 1 through 5. Probably not the 5, right? But he has contested shots at the rim of 5s before. Look, I the Celtics traded Marcus Smart in 2024, and it led to them winning a championship. But I'll always have a lot of love in my heart for Marcus Smart. So, Marcus Smart, and then shit, I have another pick. I'm going to. I think so. I think I'm going to go on the wing selection here. I already got my big and Bill Russell. I got my guard and Marcus Smart, and I'm going to go with a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year award winner, Dennis Rodman.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So this is where it gets hard.
Yeah.
So all right. So hang on. So John started off the draft by taking perhaps probably like we mentioned civil rights activist, probably like the most cool, calm, and collected guy ever in Bill Russell, and then he just followed it up with drafting Marcus Smart. Yeah.
Yeah. You need to get some balance in the locker room.
You know what, Chris? We're talking about peak. And I took Tim Duncan, and who was my Gary Payton? I guess Gary Payton does have some, some attitude to him.
This is a great draft.
Yeah, this is an awesome draft.
This is a great idea, yeah.
You know what? I'm going to go with team building, little versatility. We're switching all 1 through 4, maybe even 5. I'm getting Kevin Garnett on my team.
Nice.
We're moving the puppies on the perimeter. All my bigs can guard small. And I got Gary Payton who can guard big as well. He wasn't even who I was looking at, but then I went to your agenda, Chris. I saw Garnett, and I was like, damn it. All right, I'll take him.
Yeah, he's, in my opinion, definitely one of the better help defenders of all time, for sure. He's also super random, but I remember there was a playoff game in 2012 it was, because that was the series that the Celtics pushed. The old Celtics pushed LeBron in the Heat to 7. There was one of the games that Paul Pierce and who was it? It was both Paul Pierce and LeBron fouled out. So there was like a few positions where Kevin Garnett was actually guarding Dwayne Wade. So yeah, he's definitely very switchable and very help dependent as well. All right, so with my pick, I'm gonna go. I was deciding between the two guys. He ends up falling to me. I'm gonna go with another wing here. I'm gonna go with Scottie Pippen, because Kawhi and Scottie, they're both the two best wing defenders of all time. I went with Kawhi because he was like the stronger player, like more intimidating. But that being said, Scottie is just as much as a pest. He's long, annoying, can get in front of anyone. Can I've always said, like if there's any player of all time that could guard Kevin Durant, it would be Scottie Pippen. So I think that he's like the perfect epitome of the player that can guard like the longer the longer wings. So pretty easy pick for me there.
All right, guys. I'm going to turn this draft upside down with these next two picks.
Ooh, okay.
And we're going to throw it back to the 90s. I'm going to take David Robinson at the 4. Really, I'm going to switch him and Wemby. You know what I mean? Go 5-4. Just an absolute monster. When you think of an older, what are they called in basketball? But the guys that send messages, enforcers. They're like a hockey enforcer. This is a Navy guy, a strong guy. And I think if you're driving into this, you should go get checked out because you've got some issues. And on the flip side, I'm going to keep it in the 90s, and I'm going to take the best basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan, because
nice.
Not only is he one of the best offensive basketball players of all time, he is a defense-first guy, and all he wants to do is show that he is full of grit, get stops, and get buckets.
By the way, if there's anyone out there, not that we get a ton of comments, but is anyone out there who's going to comment on the fact that all of his defensive stats are inflated? That's why he has the DPOY. Check out my guy Tony, aka Sports Fluent, who has debunked this myth multiple times. Like, we're not saying every stat back then was inflated a little bit. It's not even back then. Like, the stat sheets are usually always cooked. Not as much today because you got a million people looking at it, but the fact that anyone takes away like his defensive abilities, I feel like those people are kind of exposing themselves if they're saying if they're only looking at the DPOY, they're only looking at the numbers. If they think that he's not a good defender because people might have added on an extra steal or two per game based on what he did.
Wasn't Jaren Jackson Jr. averaging 3 more blocks a game at home a couple of years ago? Do you remember that, Chris?
I do remember that. And that was one of the things. But it's one of those things because one of the follow-ups that Tony followed up with was saying okay, so you want to say that Jordan averages more steals 2 more steals per game at home than away. So did Alvin Robertson the year before. And no one was crying about that. So and also, not for nothing, the guy who did the so-called Kate study didn't even show the things. He just wrote an article and everyone called it credible, even though we couldn't even watch the film. So yeah, definitely of suspicious case study for sure. But with my next one, I'm gonna go with the guy who I think is one of the more versatile defenders of all time. It's especially in the guard position, because when I was doing research on him, and I'm gonna nerd out real quick. On the B-Ball Index website, when they put positions, they don't put guard, point guard, they don't put guard, forward, center. They do point of attack. They do anchor big. They do chaser, helper, and like a couple other things. And they actually put Jason Kidd as helper. They didn't put him as point of attack. So I think that's pretty interesting. I obviously think that he can do the point of attack. He was quick and he was long and everything. So yeah, I am going to go with Jason Kidd. My opinion, in my opinion, I think he's the second best point guard defender of all time, besides Gary Payton. But I know that some people think he's number one. But I don't know if I'd go I don't know if I go as far to say that he's better than Payton.
All right, so I'm up. And by the way, after my last pick, always a good feeling in a draft when the guy after you goes, easy pick here. Really makes you feel good about your pick. I'm going to go with another guard here, Celtic and Grizzly legend. First team all defense for a reason. I'm going with Tony Allen. If you think of defense, just like a pure defender, you think of Tony Allen. And I need to stack up my guard. So Gary Payton and Tony Allen, good luck scoring on that.
Shit, I hate this double pick thing. It's stupid.
I love the turnaround.
Okay, so I think so. I drafted Bill Russell and Dennis Rodman. I'm sliding Rodman to my 3. I think that might be a
Smart move on defense. If it was offense, I'd have my questions. But
right.
it's
Yeah,
defense,
like if Rodman was my 3 on offense, I'd cry. But like for this particular exercise, I think having him as my 3 is exciting. And then having Ben Wallace at my 4 is probably the best move here. And then I'm stuck between picking a bench or I guess it'd be a 2 guard because Smart's probably at my 1, if not 2, so you can go flip flop. I'm thinking I really don't. I think I'm going to neglect my backcourt defense here, and I'm going to pick Giannis as my bench big off the bench.
Nice.
Maybe a little peculiar or unique, but I think the value is there versus one of the kind of force picking one of the guards.
Definitely agree.
It's a good pick, John. I'm happy that this is purely a defensive draft because, like PJ got Jordan, you have Giannis. I have nobody on offense, really.
Yeah,
I have
PG
Tim Duncan.
is your volume 3 shooter.
All right. Right now, I'm going with pure intimidation. St. John's legend, formerly known as Ron Artest. Now I think he's Meta World Peace, or he might have changed it again. He changed it to the Panda's friend, but he's back to Meta World Peace. So I'm going with him. St. John's legend.
Matt, don't worry. I'm gonna, when I make the graphic for this, I'm going to be writing down our tests so no one gets confused. so. I got a couple options here.
And I misspoke there. He changed it back to Meta Sanford Artest in 2020. So if you put just Artest, people will know who you're talking about, Chris.
Yeah. That's what I'm likely going to do. So I'm setting my wings. I'm setting my point of attack. Wondering if I should go with the 4 or should I go with the 2? Because obviously I know the Kawhi can like guard shooting guards, but I'm wondering if it's. I think I'm going to go with the more efficient option and going to go with the guy who definitely can guard twos and also can, without a doubt, guard point guards, which I know the Jason Kidd can do. But I'm gonna more so double down on this, and I'm gonna take. I think there's 2 good options here, but I'm gonna play the safer option. I'm gonna go with Dwayne Wade.
Stole it.
Odd.
The Flash. I was on that one, Chris. So you
Sorry
diced me up. Diced me up. All right, so I'm closing myself out here, and I've got 2. I've got David Robinson at my 5, Wemby at my 4. Holiday and Jordan can kind of flip between 3 and 2. But this is like questionable, but I'm taking a leader. He may not have been the best on-ball defender, but he is probably the best guard to anchor defense, and that's John Stockton.
Nice.
He led the league in steals a couple times, I believe. And
So
yeah, I
all-time
mean,
steals leader. Yeah.
yeah. So when you have that and you have a guy who can anchor that defense from the one, yeah, I mean, that's just a true leader. And then I am going to take the most annoying player in basketball history. Draymond Green is my sixth
And
man.
still mine. And you swiped mine right there. So
Yeah.
we're even. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Draymond, he can guard all five. And
Damn it.
yeah, sorry. I knew I had to take him.
And he is the most annoying player in NBA history. You did get that correct. I hate him.
All right. So before I say anything, John and Matt, don't worry. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
You should. You should do it.
No, I'm not going to do it. PG, you want to take I'm assuming that John and Matt aren't going to take the guy who I'm thinking about. Like, do you have any guess who they think that I'm trolling with about?
Is it Mutombo or LeBron? Like, is there
No. So I'm actually a big Rudy Gobert stan. So,
I wish
yeah.
it was Mutombo or LeBron.
Wow.
No. Instead, I'm going to take a guy who's much more versatile and a better all-time defender. I'm going to go with one of the better defenders of the 2010s. I'm going to go with Anthony Davis.
My two picks were going to be Draymond Green or Anthony Davis. I'm like, yeah, one of them will fall to me. And we got taken. All right, I'm going to appease to our Nick fan friends here and followers of the pod.
Jalen Brunson?
I'm going to take Carl. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to go with maybe the best dressed man in America currently today. I'm going to go with Walt Clyde Frazier.
Nice.
His nicknames on Basketball Reference are Clyde and Mr. Cool. You need that in the locker room. You know, you got Tim Duncan, who's a little boring. You need a guy like Clyde Frazier to spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, he was.
What Kevin Garnett run don't spice it up enough for you?
That's true.
He was known for dancing around New York nightclubs while he was playing. He even took my mom onto the dance floor once.
Nice.
Nice.
Wow, nice.
He said when he went to the Cavs, he was so sad because there was one nightclub in Cleveland. He's like, "This is it? Are you guys kidding me?"
All right, John, you got your last pick.
Last pick, and Chris, I'm going to stun you here. This is somebody who was not on your list.
Oh, okay.
It is two-time Defensive Player of the Year award winner Sidney Moncrief.
Oh, how the hell did I put him? Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't put him.
Done, John.
That's a snipe.
That is my 2 or 1. I think both Moncrief and Smart would probably, they'll fight in the locker room and figure out who's going to play the 2 or the 1. But either way, I'm happy to have them on my team.
Great stuff, gentlemen. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna post this graphic because it was definitely one of my favorite drafts for sure. Yeah, I have it written down, but I know we're approaching the hour mark, but I still did want to do this trivia question, like this top 10, and have you guys work at it and just call out the answers, because in honor of Matt Solomon and also in honor of the draft that we just did, because this is kind of, I think rebounds are kind of a defensive stat, depending on how you look at it. But it's
also the NJAC Defensive Player of the Year, Chris, Matt Solomon.
Right? Yeah, so
we are shouting out defense.
So I want you guys to tell me the top 10 rebounders since the year 2000.
Is it total rebounds or rebounds per game?
Total rebounds.
Okay, so LeBron's going to be on here somewhere.
LeBron is number 4.
Shaq.
Is Shaq on here? Doesn't look like he is. That surprises me.
Tim Duncan's on here.
Tim Duncan is number 2.
Who's above him?
What about Giannis?
Giannis does not make the list.
Too early? Or too late, maybe?
Giannis is number 20.
Are we gonna get diced up? Like, are there dudes that are younger on this list already?
There are. Define younger. Like there aren't many young players.
I feel like Giannis is like.
Giannis is number 20. So
that's great.
I will say that
maybe I'm a casual. That's crazy.
Your boy's got to be on it.
Rudy Gobert is not on it. He's number 11 actually.
Oh, you should have asked us the top 11 then, Chris.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
sorry, go ahead.
No. Go, Matt.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say
I don't wanna give
Anthony
any insight.
Davis.
Where is Davis? He's not in the top 10, but
He got drafted in what, 2011?
AD's number 23.
Okay, since 2000.
Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard is number 1.
Okay.
Okay, good. Oof.
What we have 3 so far?
You got 3. You got 1, 2, and 4.
Wow.
Is it bad if we just throw names out?
Andre
No.
Drummond.
That's exactly what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to throw names out. But Andre Drummond's number 5.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Kevin
I think
Garnett.
it got-
Kevin Garnett's number 3.
Okay.
cool.
Dirk.
You got the top 5. Dirk is number 6.
Oh, Dirk's on there?
Yep.
Oh wow. Okay. Pau Gasol.
Pau Gasol's number 7.
Nice.
Nice.
It's very good.
Kendrick Perkins. No, I'm just kidding.
I kind of have a crazy guess.
Go, Matt.
Carl Anthony Towns.
Cat is not on here. What number is he at? Is he on the top?
He's
not-
played for a
2000 is
while.
Like,
He's on the top
2000 is
25.
far.
Yeah,
2000
it's
is
Like
far.
Cat was like 3 in 2000.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I mean, he's already on what? He was drafted.
2015. So.
Oh, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Ben Wallace.
Ben Wallace does not make it. He's number 14.
Since 2000.
What about KG?
We said.
We said KG. Yeah, he's number 3.
I
Really?
don't think Yao
Wow.
Ming played long
Can't believe
enough.
I missed that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, did not play long enough. I don't think. I don't think he. Yeah, he's not in the top 25.
Trying to think of big guys that played for a while. Is Marc Gasol on this list? I know Pau's on this list.
I don't think Marc Gasol is on this list. No.
Chris
What about
Bosh?
Oh, Chris Bosh.
Was Chris Bosh is not on the list. I don't think he's in the top 25. And someone else said Brook Lopez. I don't think he's he's not in the top 25 either.
Damn.
What were these guys doing for
Underratedly
15
long
years?
career. Yeah.
Brook
Yeah,
Lopez,
Sharon.
yeah.
Yep.
So we got 3 to go.
Yep.
Is Al Horford on this list?
Horford's number 16.
Oh, I was about to go on a victory lap with that guy. Oh my god.
Is Jokic on it?
No, Jokic is number 22.
Wow. Trying to think of guys that played for a long time.
You guys want a hint?
Yeah.
So 2 of these guys are active. Yeah, 2 of these guys are active.
Oh, Russell Westbrook.
Westbrook doesn't make the list, but he is, however, number 18.
Ah,
I have a crazy guess. It's probably
Sure.
wrong.
Go ahead.
DeAndre Jordan.
DeAndre Jordan's number 8.
let's go.
What?
That's crazy.
Okay.
How is he number 8?
That's a great question, Matt.
He has more rebounds by like a significant amount than Jokic. That doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know, man.
A different life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then another guy's active. We already said Gobert, no. Kevin Love.
Kevin Love's number 15.
Oh,
What about Taj Gibson?
Gibson's not on the list.
the GOAT
He's
got
active
signed
now?
today.
He's
got
active
resigned.
now. I thought that was the joke.
Yes. Yeah.
What about Embiid?
No, Embiid doesn't make the cut.
Good.
He never plays. He never plays.
No,
That- I guess. All right, we got 8. We got 9 and 10 left.
Yeah, 9, 10.
Like, is one a guard? Is it?
No, both of them are bigs.
Okay.
We got one NBA champion. That's the one that's not current though.
NBA champion.
Is it a
Well,
Heat player?
He's not. I don't know. I don't think he ever played for the Heat. No. You floated around a couple teams. How about this? Each of these players has played for one of our favorite teams. Each of them has played for one of our favorite teams.
So Celtics and Knicks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Enes Kanter.
I should clarify that, like, I'm pretty sure that both of them only played for each team once. Like, one of them played for the Knicks once, and one of them played for the Celtics once. I should.
Yeah.
You said Cancer.
Oh.
I wanted to make sure that you.
So
that
I
you
didn't
weren't
play for
saying-
both.
No, I didn't play for both. So one of them played for the Knicks. One of them played for the Celtics.
And one's still active?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm
man.
assuming that's the NBA champion. He's still
The active
active.
one is the active. No, the active one is not the NBA champion.
Oh, okay. So maybe he didn't win with the.
The active one's not the NBA champion.
Is it Vucevic?
Is Nikola Vucevic? He's number 9.
Whoa!
Wow, what a pick.
Wow!
Vucevic has more rebounds than, I don't know, like
Anthony
9 of the
Davis?
people we mentioned before. That's
Yeah.
insane to me.
Yep. He plays every game. That's why.
And a Knicks
Yeah.
player.
And then we got So as I mentioned, so he's played for
So
the
that
Knicks.
was the active guy.
Yeah, so he's
Amari
played for the Knicks. No,
Amari
and he's an NBA,
Stoudemire?
and he's an NBA champion.
Oh, true. I forgot about that.
Not with the Knicks, obviously.
No, not with the Knicks. With a different team. I believe he was the starter on that team too.
Tyson Chandler.
Tyson Chandler.
Wow. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
Great
Gobert was
ball.
at 11, Zach Randolph was at 12, Sean
Nice.
Marion was at 13.
That's
You
surprising.
guessed, you guessed Wallace, you guessed Kevin Love, you guessed Horford. Elton Brand was 17. You guessed Russ. Jonas Valanciunas was 19. You guessed Giannis. LaMarcus Aldridge was 21.
My guy.
You guessed Jokic. You guessed AD. Marcus Camby was 24, and Carlos Boozer was 25.
Wow.
So quite the list. And like, I thought, like, okay, maybe rebounds would be good. And once I saw like the actual list, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is gonna be pretty tough. So I got nervous when you guys like bang going right away. I'm like, oh, was this too easy? But then that's why you're talking about. So I'm like, okay,
It was not too easy.
It was not, I can assure you.
awesome. So that's all we got for tonight. Before we head out, PJ, anything you want to plug / anything coming up on your end?
Nothing too big. I think what we're going to do as the weather gets nicer is try to get followers and viewers involved in some videos, sort of like a Jester, Adam Botkin model where you do challenges, guess the this and that. So, yeah, we just want to be super interactive. Do we have any big videos coming up? Nothing too crazy, but, yeah, looking forward to this, and this was awesome.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for much coming on. We'll definitely have you on again, and if you ever have anything on your end, we definitely love to collab in your show as well. So we'll definitely be in touch about that. But as far as it goes for the rest, John, Matt, always a pleasure. This has been another episode of the All American Hoops podcast. Be sure to follow me on all social media platforms at All American Hooper on Instagram and on TikTok, at American Hooper on Twitter. Be sure to check out my column on sportsfluent.com. Be sure to check me out on Wednesday nights on this channel, Sports Fluence, with Fluent and Chill, Fluent versus Chill versus everyone, with as I said, Fluent and Chill with Jalen Carter Music and Ori B from Hoop Social. And of course, be sure to check us out every Thursday nights at 8 p.m. We're always here. So it's always a pleasure. This has been another episode of the All American Hoops podcast. Until next time, keep grinding and stay hooping. Have a great night, everyone.